Good morning and welcome to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation on this Labor Day weekend. My name is Melanie Clunan-Schulte, your worship associate today, and our focus this morning is on joy. Robert Louis Stevenson said, "Find out where joy resides and give it a voice far beyond singing, for to miss joy is to miss all." Helping us figure out how to find joy today will be our member Ann Sebrin, our guest in the pulpit. And now our faith formation assistant, Haley, has the time for all ages.
Hello, everyone. My name is Haley. And before we get started, I do have a few announcements. So registration for the fall online faith formation programs for 2-year-olds through seniors in high schools has been sent out to families. So if you didn't receive an email and you'd like to, you can contact Marcy at faithform@vuu.org. Also, if you sing or play an instrument and have the ability to record yourself, or you want to be on Katie's maternity leave committee, please reach out to Katie at musicdirector@vuu.org. Finally, after the worship service today, you'll be invited to join a breakout room. And today's thought-provoking question is, what brings you joy and delight, and what do you find gets in the way of that joy and delight? Finally, if I can have the children all join me for our story time today. Do you have magic breath? Let's see. Take a deep breath in and blow it out. You do have magic breath. The magic breath is special. It helps when you have many, many thoughts running through your mind. At the end of the day, there's a lot to think about. Sometimes when you're worried or nervous or sad, deep breaths can help push some of those thoughts away. Think about when you feel happy. Taking a deep breath in and thinking about something that made you feel great will help you enjoy your happy moments even more. It's magic. Let's try it out. What happened today that made you smile? Take a deep breath in and picture that moment in your mind. Get ready. Let's blow all those happy thoughts out onto the page, or in this case, the screen. Now that looks like happiness. Keep blowing, keep thinking happy. That's a lot of happiness. I bet you have a big smile on your face. A big smile can help you feel even better. But sometimes things happen that make you feel sad or mad. Did something happen today that made you feel that way? I bet it's stuck in your mind. Let's try to practice your magic breath again. Think about what happened. Now keep it in your mind. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Now blow your breath out here. One more time. Take an even bigger breath and remember that happy thought. Use it to push out your sad thought. Can you blow that sad thought right off the page, right off the screen? Keep trying. Make sure to blow all the sad thoughts out of sight. You did it! Goodbye, sad thoughts. Do you feel better now? You used your magic breath to help you. Taking deep breaths in and out when you're sad or mad or worried or happy can help you feel better. Your magic breath can help you laugh and appreciate happy times. Magic breath can also help you feel calm when you're not so happy. I hope you all are able to practice some of your magic breaths today.
Thank you, Haley. And now if you have a candle to light or something to use as a chalice, this is the time to bring it close to you as we say our chalice lighting words together. We kindle this flame, symbol of our faith, for the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of love, which calls us to work for justice. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to VUU this morning, whether you are a long-term member or are new to our community. whoever you are, whatever you are coping with right now, know that you are welcome here. And know too, that you can set aside your concerns for the next hour or so and be fully present, allowing our shared, albeit virtual, time together to lessen your burden and make room for joy. Now, I've heard a common refrain when talking with people lately that they're just sort of waiting it out until things get back to normal, with some people feeling like their suddenly constricted world has sort of put life on hold. And I get it. Life seems to have less texture without parties and family reunions, concerts and sporting events, and without the ability to plan to go to the theater or take a trip overseas. With every day feeling very much the same, some friends of mine from this congregation have gone to calling every day just Blur's Day. But these days and weeks, friends, will never come again. And a lack of richness does not have to mean a lack of joy. Joy hides in the mundane. And I think it has to do with less screens and more trees, with less self-consciousness and more embracing of imperfection, with less negative self-talk and more laughter. Ingrid Fetell-Lee, a designer who studies joy and wrote the book Joyful, has said, "The sharply divided, politically polarized world we live in sometimes has the effect of making our differences feel so vast as to be insurmountable. And yet underneath it all, there's a part of us that finds joy in the same things." Her research has shown that certain aesthetics, like bright pops of color, round shapes, clusters suggesting abundance, and things that remind us of lightness and air, seem to bring joy to most people regardless of age, ethnicity, or political persuasion. She suggests scanning the world around for things like hot air balloons, confetti, ice cream cones, or bringing joy into your environment with bright colors and putting googly eyes on everyday objects. And it may seem silly or even childish to think that wearing a bright shirt or putting googly eyes on your stapler is an antidote to systemic racism, political corruption, and all of the many problems in our world today. But Anne is going to tell us later why savoring small moments of joy is neither silly nor selfish, and in fact is what strengthens our resolve to tackle big issues. So I say, enjoy that sandwich. Skinny dip in your pool at midnight. Dance alone in your living room. Watch a sunset from your back window. And if there are things in your environment that are robbing you of joy, get rid of them. As a meme I saw recently said, turn it off, let it go, unfriend, unfollow, mute, block, walk away, breathe. I hope you will find joy in our time together this morning, in your Labor Day weekend, and in the week to come. And now let us sing together for all that is our life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love. We come with praise and thanks for all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass. We come with praise and thanks, and all that is our life, for all that is our life. We sing our thanks and praise, for all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Happiness research has consistently shown that money can buy happiness, but only if it's spent on others or donated. So here's your opportunity for a moment of happy. You can text your donation or mail it. The information is on your screen. Thank you for your generosity.
Let's take a moment right now for a brief mindful awareness practice that's sometimes called the 3-minute breathing space. Settling into a sitting posture that feels stable and alert, but also at ease. Maybe just feeling into softening the body and allowing the eyes to close if that feels comfortable for you, or just resting in a downward soft gaze. Feeling into the sensations of sitting, the feet and seat in contact with the support of the floor or the chair. And turning attention to what's happening right now in your experience. What's going on in the mind and body? What thoughts are present right now? What feelings or emotions are here? What are you feeling right now? What sensations are you aware of in the body? What sensations are making themselves known? Not changing anything that is happening, just opening to what's already here in your experience. And gathering and narrowing the attention now to just feel the sensation of the breath in the body. The sense of movement of the natural rhythm of the in-breath and the out-breath, maybe at the breath, at the belly or the chest. Just feeling the expansion and contraction, the breath in the body. And expanding awareness now. To move the attention out from the breath to an awareness of the whole body. This breathing, sitting body. And when other aspects of experience grab the attention, and the mind wanders, it's no big deal. Just notice that the mind has wandered, and just returning the attention again to just feeling the breath moving in the body, feeling the body sitting and breathing. Becoming aware of the posture, maybe the facial expressions, the feel of air on the skin, points of contact, the touch of hands or clothing, chair. And when you care to, and in your own time, opening the eyes and just tuning into the effects of having paused and given some care and attention, the reverence of honor and respect for our experience just as it is right now. Recognizing that this capacity to simply know our experience right in this moment is always here. And it's the ground of our ability to recognize and take in what gives us joy and gladness. So let's move now to joining in a song about living in joy and living in love.
This is I Am a Light by Robert Anderson, and we invite you to sing along. It's a call and repeat. This is the time.
taking a moment again to just bring some awareness to what it feels like right now, having been filled with the uplift of a song about living in love and living in joy. Many of you may have heard the story about the man who was walking through the forest and he stumbled upon a hungry tiger. He runs from the tiger, but he soon comes to the edge of a high cliff, and desperate to save himself, he climbs down a vine and is dangling over a fatal precipice. And as he hangs there, two mice come out of a hole in the cliff and begin gnawing on the vine that he's holding on to. He looks up at the hungry tiger and down at what is surely a fatal fall. And suddenly he notices a ripe, plump strawberry on a vine right in front of him. So he plucks it, pops it in his mouth, and exclaims, "This is incredibly delicious." This story is often given as an analogy for mindfulness or paying attention to our full present moment experience. But there is perhaps a deeper teaching here. Even when things appear as if they are going horribly wrong, it is still possible to take in and abide in moments of joy. In the Buddhist tradition, there are teachings or what are called the Four Beautiful Abodes, or the most beautiful and hopeful aspects of our human nature in which we can abide. The Buddhist teacher Jack Kornfield suggests that these ancient teachings on these four heart qualities are what today we would call optimal mental health. The warmth, friendliness, and goodwill of loving kindness, equanimity, or the capacity to be present to the full range of human experience with a steady mind and a steady heart. Compassion, the natural movement of the heart to respond to suffering. And lastly, what can be translated as appreciative joy, delight, gladness, thankfulness, the feeling of lightness and expansiveness in the heart. This is the delight of our everyday moments. Seeing drops of water on a colorful flower, or the way the moon peeks out from behind a cloud, hearing a child's laugh, or watching dogs play in the park. Buddhist teacher Christine Feldman says, when we notice these types of moments, we are suddenly awake, present to our life, and our hearts are gladdened. Joy is the song of the awakened heart. Appreciative joy is rooted in mindfulness, this capacity to pay attention to our experience with a spacious, receptive, non-contentious heart, making room for whatever is happening in experience. And this includes delight, pleasure, satisfaction, and enjoyment. The poet Apollinaire says, "Now and then it is good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy." Now, given the personal and social turmoil that we're living in these days, this may sound naive, disconnected from what's going on around us, and even self-indulgent. But this invitation is not a simplistic, look on the bright side and it'll all be peachy keen point of view. There's no real wisdom in that. Recently, I was listening to a talk by Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron as she described asking author and poet Alice Walker what she does to not burn out. And Alice Walker's answer was to cultivate joy, to open directly and fully to the experience of delight and gladness, and to see that these experiences are worthy of our reverent, respectful attention. And knowing how to cultivate and access ease and delight is the ground of resilience, which is so important as we continue to deal with the personal and social impacts of what we're facing right now. Sorrow and anguish, fear, anxiety, anger that's come with COVID, racial injustice, climate impact, threats to our democracy. Yet the Buddhist teacher Jill Shepherd poses an important question for us to consider. How does it help the net suffering in the world to avoid any joy that is available to us right now? We need the flexibility of the mind and heart to take in the whole spectrum of experience. Otherwise, we can very easily find ourselves too fixated on our difficulties, stressors, what's going wrong, the threats, the pain of the world. And this constant exposure to ongoing pain and difficulty can deplete and exhaust the heart. Rick Hanson, a neuroscientist who studies mindfulness, reminds us that our brains are like Velcro for the negative. We're biologically wired to pay attention to and to focus on what is threatening. Delight and gladness in the heart allow us to hold our difficulties a little more lightly, even if for just a few brief moments, our preoccupations and ruminations and anxieties can be quieted. Opening to delight, enjoyment, appreciation is a way of calling on an inner strength that allows us to be with and move through our difficulties and challenges. And we don't have to wait for difficulties and challenges to end before joy begins. In the traditional teachings on these four heart qualities, joy is not described as a transient episodic state, but as a way of seeing, a way of being. Too often we reduce delight and gladness to an either-or experience. If sadness and sorrow is present, joy must be absent, and vice versa. But joy is not the denial of sorrow, pain, or injustice. As Jack Cornfield says, we will weep and grieve, but not stop there. Tending the full spectrum of our life also means cultivating the inclination of the heart towards the gladness and appreciation that allows the heart to soften, to find ease even in the midst of life's 10,000 sorrows. The poet Jack Gilbert writes, "We must risk delight. We can do without pleasure, but not delight, not enjoyment. We must have the stubbornness to accept our gladness in the ruthless furnace of this world. To make injustice the only measure of our attention is to praise the devil. We must admit there will be music despite everything." In the Buddhist path of awakening, joy, like mindfulness and compassion, is not left to chance. We can learn to cultivate a way of seeing, a way of being in appreciative joy. Understanding what gives rise to joy in our own experience. To sense what within us obstructs and gets in the way of our ability to notice, to take in feelings of delight and gladness. And with practice, learn to abide in joy more frequently, even in the midst of the fullness of life's difficulties and challenges. So how can we cultivate a mindful, reverent awareness of joy? First, the teachings are to notice, to acknowledge that something sweet is happening right now, and it's worthy of our precious, caring attention. And as we take in that experience of sweetness, allowing ourselves to really feel the experience in the body. What does simple delight, gladness, sweetness feel like? There's the softness of the smiling face, or maybe there's a warmth in the chest, in the belly, or a fizziness in the heart. And then to invite that experience to deepen and linger, what the neuroscientist Rick Hanson describes as savoring. Research suggests that dwelling in positive experiences for 15 to 30 seconds actually changes the brain. It builds neural networks that make it easier and easier to recognize the good that is present in our life, to recognize what's going well right now, and to take it in, allowing the body's systems to relax and reducing the impacts of stress. But in this practice, it's also important to include in our awareness the obstacles that can arise. We go to turn towards experiences and moments of joy, and instead we find numbness or envy and jealousy, guilt or shame. And it's essential that we welcome even these aspects of our experience with a kind, caring, welcoming, mindful awareness, and not make ourselves wrong for feeling the natural and normal obstacles to joy. Even when things feel difficult or like they're too much, and it seems that there's no joy to be found, the invitation here is to see if it's possible to widen our view and widen our heart to ask, what else is happening right now? It's like one of my favorite scenes from the movie Apollo 13, after the explosion on the space capsule, and all of the instruments in mission control are failing, and the flight director stops everybody and asks, okay, what do we have that's good on the ship? Remembering that joy is not some Pollyanna wishing that things will just turn out fine, or an either-or experience. Things can feel contracted or painful, and at the same time, we can also see what's going well in our life that fosters some sense of gladness in the heart. And finally, the teachings on how to cultivate appreciative joy include opening to, connecting with, and feeling with the joy of others. The Dalai Lama reminds us that being able to delight in the joy and good fortune of other people increases our potential for happiness by about 6 billion. And not only does this increase our own potential for joy, being able to find joy in the good things that happen to other people, to wish for others good fortune to continue and increase, it profoundly changes how we relate to each other. And it's a critical antidote to the poisonous messages of social comparison, division, and separation that we're experiencing these days. So the teachings on how to cultivate appreciative joy, noticing moments of pleasure and delight, feeling the experience in the body, allowing it to deepen and linger, noticing and welcoming any obstacles that arise, wishing for and connecting with the good fortune of others. So let's take just a few minutes right now to settle into a short mindfulness of appreciative joy practice. And sitting just as you are right now, just bringing attention to this whole sitting body. And just taking a moment to actually feel into the sense of aliveness in this body. Feeling the vibration, the tingling, the thrumming, the subtle movement that is this aliveness in the body. And just tuning into the basic quality of goodness and the feeling of this aliveness. And just as we did a few moments ago, feeling again into the sensations of breathing, the movement of an in-breath and an out-breath in the body. And just feeling again this basic quality of goodness in breathing, the basic quality of gladness in the breath. Perhaps extending some appreciation for the breath, this oxygen that is feeding the aliveness in this body, an appreciation for the source of that oxygen, the trees and the plants that give so freely to support our aliveness. And opening awareness to include your immediate environment. If the eyes have been closed, opening the eyes to take in your immediate environment. What's going well in your experience right now? What in your environment is offering some sweet delight or gladdening of the heart, or for which you have deep appreciation? And if any obstacles or resistance arises to feeling joy, that's not wrong. Just notice that this too is part of the experience right now. Maybe it's appreciation for your shelter and air conditioning that allows us to regulate our temperature and feel cool air on the skin on this 110-degree day. Or maybe it's just the comfort of sitting in your favorite chair, or the delightful sounds of family in the next room. Maybe it's a piece of art or a photograph that sparks the heart and the mind, or seeing children's toys on the floor that feel sweet and bring a smile, the color of plants, flowers outside the window. Or maybe the basic gladness for the technology that has allowed all of us to come together this morning. And orienting awareness now towards everyone who has gathered here with us this morning over Zoom. Recognizing and imagining all of the delight and gladness that everyone has found in this brief practice, even if just for a moment. All of the things that are going well for everyone gathered in this community this morning. And offering everyone joining us this deep wish. May you feel deep gladness and delight. May your good fortune and joy continue and increase. May you feel deep gladness and delight. May your good fortune and joy continue and increase. And as we bring this practice to a close, perhaps taking a moment to set an intention, to pause once or twice during the remainder of today, to ask yourself, what else is happening right now? To notice and take in what is offering some delight and gladness, to feel and savor that gladness in the body, and to notice and take some delight in the joy and good fortuning that's happening to those around you. May this abiding in joy and appreciation serve to benefit us and benefit all others. May it be so.
Please join us in singing, "Will You Seek in Far Off Places?" The song has 2 verses that we will sing in unison, a cappella, and then we will break into a round, and we invite you to sing whichever part calls to you.
Will you seek in far off places? Surely you'll come home at last. In familiar forms and faces, things best known, you find the best. Joy and peace are in this hour, here not in another place. Here in this beloved flower, now in this beloved face.
Will you seek in far
you
off
seek
places?
in far
Surely
off
you
places?
come home
Surely
at
you
last.
come home
In familiar forms and faces, things best known you
things
find
best
the
known, you
best.
find the best.
Joy and peace are
Joy
in
and
this
peace
hour.
are
Here
in
not
this
in
hour.
another
You're not in
place. Here
another
in this
place.
beloved
Here in this beloved flower. Now in this beloved face.
And as we extinguish our chalice, let's remember that though we extinguish the chalice, our connection to each other and this community remains. May its light guide us this week as we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, and fill our world with compassion until we meet again. If you would like to stay, and we want to invite you to stay for the breakout rooms, just stay at the end of the service. The question, I believe, will appear in your breakout room, but once again, it is what brings you joy and delight, and what gets in the way of that joy and delight. Everything that comes to you is your teacher. Pay attention, learn quickly, practice spotting all the joy around you, and go now in peace, dear friends.